Hi Aero folks. In today's video, I'm going to fly this plane here, the Pilatus PC-12. I'm here at Congonhas Airport, in the Executive Aviation Yard, where the Executive Aviation hangars are located, which is on the other side of where the commercial aviation is located, and I'm going to fly on this plane, the Pilatus PC-12, a Swiss plane that is a huge success all over the world. I'm flying here at Pilatus. We left Congonhas and are going to the interior of Sao Paulo, in the city of Itatinga. We are going to land on a farm there to show how the operation of this plane is on unprepared runways, because I think that this is a great advantage of this plane, that we can operate on any type of runway, any type of paving. This plane has the advantage of landing at low speed, so it can operate on short runways. This configuration here is the executive configuration of this plane. So, we have 6 executive armchairs and 2 more standard armchairs in the back, which I'll show you how easy it is to remove these armchairs if you want to use that piece over there as a luggage rack. This plane, it is so versatile that you can have this configuration, or if we have 8 passengers here, but the pilot and co-pilot. The pilot-co-pilot is not necessary, it is a single pilot plane, so it can only be the pilot. In the co-pilot position another passenger can be, and his configuration can be changed. So, this is cool, the versatility of the plane. We can have more standard seats here, we can put 10 passengers in the back. It is a configuration that is not used in Brazil, but there are several companies outside Brazil that use this plane for regular regional airlines. Just as we can place more standard armchairs, we can also place more executive armchairs. We can place 6 executive armchairs here and have more space. You can be even more comfortable on this plane. And there's still the combi version. The combi version, as the name suggests, for you to carry the cargo with passengers. We arrived here at Dimup Farm, located in the city of Itatinga, in the interior of Sao Paulo. And now that we're here, before taking a little flight, I'm going to show you a little bit of its characteristics from the outside. The most notable feature of this plane here is precisely having a single engine. This engine here is the turboprop engine. It's a Pratt & Whitney PT6 engine. This one is the most reliable engine in the turboprop world. Several planes are equipped with this engine. This one, the Pilatus, the Caravan, the King Air, Quest Kodiak, which I've flown too. Anyway, it's a type of engine that every approved aviation workshop can work on it. Therefore, putting a single engine on a plane like this brings confidence, because it is the PT6. Continuing here, a 5-blade propeller. This here gives the necessary traction to make this plane reach an average speed of 280 knots, which is quite a lot for a single-engine plane. Here on the outside, you can see the size and the large fuselage, of course, to be able to fit 9 passengers plus pilot and co-pilot, or 10 passengers plus the pilot. The fact that this plane is pressurized means that it can fly at very high altitudes, so the operational ceiling of this plane is 30,000 feet, which is more or less 9,000 meters for you to carry out instrument flight operations, so it has a radar here weather too. This plane is homologated. Full IFR. Now, the most interesting are also the access doors. This door we find, for example, in a Caravan, we find it in a Kodiak, which is a cargo access door. Open it here. And look at the access size. That makes you able to put a lot of loads here. You can reconfigure it from here. So, we have this standard armchair, which is the simplest, smallest armchair, and we have this executive armchair. This standard armchair is very simple, you just take it off here, you turn this piece, and it comes out easily. So, you can, even if you have the armchair, you can remove it to put more load. And a port of this size means that you can put more loads here. I've seen a photo of a motorcycle being carried by this plane. In the combi version, all that back part is for cargo. So, this armchair comes out and stays with the luggage rack in the back. Everything from here to closing this door is very easy. Just come here, there's a little button, we press that little button and the door closes. Pilatus presented this plane at a fair in the United States in 1989. In 1991, it made its first flight, and in 1994 it was certified by the FAA, which is the aeronautical agency in the United States. Since then, more than 1,600 units of this plane have been sold worldwide. It is an ideal plane for those who need to operate over medium distances there, or if you consider even long distances for this type of aviation, because it has a range of up to 1,600 miles here in Brazil, which is more or less 3,000 kilometers. Executive aviation is very important because we usually say that executive aviation is a time multiplier because there are many people who need to use this type of plane, otherwise they cannot even get around. Let's assume a singer who needs to play more than 30 concerts within a month. I'm talking about more than 1 shows a day across Brazil. If the guy doesn't have an executive plane, he can't meet this demand. So, there will be cities that he will not be able to reach, and there will be cities that he cannot reach even with a jet, because sometimes that city does not have an asphalt runway, so a plane like that here is very necessary for many people who need it to multiply that time. Pilatus is a Swiss company, and a good part of the fuselage of this plane was manufactured in Portugal, and here in Brazil, Pilatus is represented by Synergetic. Here, in addition to the passenger seats in the cabin, there is also a toilet. Look how interesting. The little door, it sticks here with the magnet, and here is the access to the bathroom. Do you see that I'm closing myself here? This here has a purpose. I can close. And then I isolated the passengers from the cockpit and the bathroom. So, the captain here, he can access this bathroom and flight without having to disturb the passengers. He leaves it here closed. And then, if he wants to access it here, he can just enter here and access the bathroom. Here we have a few more drawers, then coffee, a small galley here to serve passengers. And down here there's a cooler. Crew leaves prepared here with some drinks to serve passengers. And on the other side, the same thing. There's another little drawer here for equipment and another cooler here. In this version of this plane here, with 8 passenger seats, this luggage rack is left over here, which fits a lot. It goes all the way to the back, so there's everyone's suitcase here, it's quite big. And then, as I said, this is the door we saw from the outside. And then when we want to add more load, just remove these banks and use all of this here as load. I'm here in the cockpit of Pilatus PC-12. This one is the Pilatus PC-12 NG, which is the next generation precisely because of this panel here. It's the full glass cockpit, it's equipped with Honeywell Primus Apex. This here is Mapelli, the pilot of this aircraft. Tell me a little bit about what we have here.
We have 4 screens here, 2 PFDs, 2 MFDs, and on the top one I have the moving map, which is where it expands situational awareness, where we also have this vertical profile. So in our case, for example, it was a year making an arrival, a star for us, the steps to meet the altitude, it all appears here, the steps.
I understood.
This is where we can better plan the descent, etc.
And all the cards you put everything here too.
It already takes positions on the panel as well.
Exactly.
The bottom MFD, where I have parameters, the landing gear, the messages in the CAS where it goes. When I have some breakdowns, it will show all the messages here for us.
Engine parameters and everything.
They have the engine parameters here and the PFD as well. Here I have the electrical system, the fuel system, the pressurization system, which is all automatic.
It is an easy plane to fly.
The Pilatus, it's like this. We underestimate it a bit because it's a single engine, but it's a complex plane. So, I mean, it's a plane, like I told you. It arrives at the terminal at 240 knots and I managed to approach for landing at 85 knots.
It's a single engine, but it performs almost like a heavy jet. So, the fact that it is a single-engine plane allows a pilot with an IFR private pilot license to fly this plane as long as he undergoes training. It's approaching fast. But it is approaching much more slowly. The thrust we feel, right?
His torque is very large. It is an aircraft that has expensive available power.
And it's interesting because it's an engine. The PT-6 engine that too are used in the King Air or other aircraft. The twin. And it has a good performance, including a good speed, having only one engine.
If you look at it, it is much more aerodynamic, for example, than the King Air, its line, its design. I think it helps to develop better speed. Also, if you think about it, this is an engine that has almost 3 engines on a C-90. In terms of power, he's reduced, he's derated. And that's even better because it allows us to give all the power. We don't have to limit it on the lever, it's already limited by the engine. But, if you stop to think in terms of available power, this PT-6- has almost 3 C-90 engines. It's with you there.
Coming back then.
His compensator is electric.
Is it here on the finger?
Yes. We have a trigger, we need to press the trigger and then there is the ball. A joystick too.
Oh, this here.
So, pull the trigger and pay off here. He will goat. And he has the aileron too, which I need, on the same joystick here.
How many axles does it have autopilot here?
3 axles without autothrottle. It has autothrottle, but it's optional.
So here you have that navigation system on the screens, right?
This is a CCD, right? Cursor control device. It serves, in fact, to help everything from navigation.
For me, who am used to flying a smaller single engine, the difference is not very big. You feel it lightly in the hand here. He's fun to fly.
Exactly. He is a steady plane.
It also has another feature that is precisely this part of the circuit. It's not a jet plane, so we can do it at the altitude of a propeller plane. 1,000 feet, and in the jet, for people to know, it's 1,500 feet. The circuit is a little faster. I'm doing 110, 115 knots here. On a jet, I could no longer do this here. Now we are going to do a high-performance takeoff, which is to gain maximum speed on the runway and climb at a high angle of attack. This here is to see his performance on the short track. If you have an little area to take off, you left the ground at 65 knots.
Exactly.
What would be the user profile of this type of plane?
Look, Fernando, he has an average of 7 hours, 7:30 of autonomy.
It's quite a thing.
Flying from average 260 knots for our condition, here in Brazil, he has a legal yield. The ideal for him are missions of 3 hours, 3:30. Nothing prevents you from doing short missions either, because it gives you a really cool cost benefit.
And that's the advantage of a turboprop over a jet.
You needed to average the distance, it meets you. If you need a flight from Sao Paulo/Parity and Sao Paulo/Angra, for example, we can do that too. The great advantage of this model is the pressurized cabin. In addition to the flight being more comfortable, more stable, it doesn't get too tired.
And the internal pressurization of the cabin would be equivalent to what altitude?
It has the maximum ceiling, so 30,000 feet. It is 10,000 in the cabin. It's at 10,000.
So, I'll close here. Mapelli, thanks for showing this plane. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, don't forget to like it, comment if you know this plane. And those who are not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until the next video.